When the next crisis hits, toilet paper won't be your problem. Everyone remembers the empty shelves in March 2020, the viral videos of people fighting over Charmin, the memes about hoarding. But toilet paper came back in 2 weeks. You know what didn't come back? The things nobody thought to stockpile until it was too late. The items that disappeared so fast most people never even knew they were gone. The supplies that stayed scarce for months, sometimes years, after the initial panic ended. I'm breaking down the first 13 things that vanished during every crisis, based on what actually happened in 2020, during Hurricane Katrina, the 2008 collapse, and every supply chain disruption in modern history. Number 7 is something sitting in your medicine cabinet right now that you'll regret not buying more of. And number 13 is the item that creates a black market within 72 hours of any major disruption. Let's get into it. Item number 1, prescription medications. In March 2020, something happened that almost nobody talks about. Within 48 hours of lockdown announcements, pharmacies across the country ran out of common prescription medications. Not experimental treatments, not rare drugs, everyday prescriptions, blood pressure medication, diabetes medication, thyroid medication, antidepressants, antibiotics. The moment people sensed uncertainty, everyone called their doctor asking for early refills. Can I get a 90-day supply instead of 30? Pharmacies couldn't handle the surge. Supply chains couldn't adjust fast enough. And suddenly, people who needed medication to survive were rationing pills or going without. Sarah, a 54-year-old with controlled diabetes, had 10 days left of her metformin when lockdown started. She called her pharmacy for a refill. They were back-ordered for 3 weeks. She ended up rationing her medication, taking it every other day instead of daily, hoping her prescription would arrive before she ran out completely. It didn't. She went. 4 days without medication before an emergency doctor visit got her a partial supply. Most people don't understand. Prescription medications can't be stockpiled easily because of how refill regulations work. Insurance companies and pharmacies typically won't fill a prescription until you're almost out. But there's a legal workaround almost nobody uses. Ask your doctor for a vacation override. Tell them you're traveling internationally or to a remote area and need an extra 30 to 60-day supply. Most doctors will write it. Most insurance companies will approve it. Do this now, during calm times, for any essential medications you or your family depend on. Build a rolling 60 to 90-day buffer. Because when the crisis hits, pharmacies will be overwhelmed and you won't be able to get early refills no matter how desperately you need them. Item number 2, over-the-counter medications, contact lenses, and first aid supplies. While everyone was buying toilet paper in March 2020, the smart people were quietly clearing out the medication aisles. Tylenol, ibuprofen, aspirin, cold medicine, cough syrup, thermometers, rubbing alcohol, hydrogen peroxide, bandages, antibiotic ointment. Within a week, these shelves were bare, and they stayed bare for months. The shortage wasn't because of increased demand, it was because of panic hoarding by people who didn't even need these items. A family of 4 might normally keep 1 bottle of Tylenol in the house. During the panic, they bought 6. Multiply that behavior across millions of households and supply chains collapse even though actual consumption hasn't increased. The items that stayed scarce the longest were the most basic ones. Children's fever reducer, thermometers, rubbing alcohol for disinfecting. Contact lenses fell into the same trap. Optical supply chains rely on regular manufacturing schedules and predictable demand. When that demand suddenly spiked, people ordering 6 months' worth instead of 3 months, manufacturers, couldn't keep up. Back orders stretched from weeks to months. People who depended on contacts for work, driving, or daily function were left scrambling to find old glasses or make do with outdated prescriptions. Jennifer, a mother of 2 in Ohio, spent 3 weeks trying to find a working thermometer during the early pandemic. Her 6-year-old had a fever. She had no way to monitor it accurately. She finally paid $47 for a basic digital thermometer on Amazon that normally cost $8. Price gouging was rampant, but she needed it desperately enough to pay. The move: build a comprehensive first aid and medication stockpile now, while everything is available and reasonably priced. Not 1 bottle of each item, multiple bottles. Enough for 6 months to a year of normal use. Focus on pain relievers, multiple types, acetaminophen, ibuprofen, aspirin, fever reducers, adult and children's versions, cold and flu medications, allergy medications, stomach remedies, antacids, antidiarrheal, laxatives. First aid supplies, bandages, gauze, medical tape, antibiotic ointment, thermometers, by 2 or 3 they break, rubbing alcohol and hydrogen peroxide. Contact lenses, order at least a 6-month supply if you wear them. Check expiration dates and rotate your stock. Most over-the-counter medications remain effective well beyond their expiration dates if stored properly. Item number 3, infant and child essentials. This one shocked even experienced preppers. In 2020, Baby formula disappeared from shelves almost as fast as toilet paper. But unlike toilet paper, formula didn't come back quickly. Shortages persisted for weeks, then months. In 2022, the shortage got so severe that the federal government had to airlift formula from Europe. Parents were driving to multiple stores daily, desperately searching for formula their infants could tolerate. Some were diluting formula to make it last longer, a dangerous practice that can cause serious health issues. Diapers also vanished, quickly. Not because people were hoarding them irrationally, but because parents with infants legitimately needed them and couldn't risk running out. Children's medications caught most parents completely off guard. Children's Tylenol, children's Motrin, teething gel, diaper rash cream, baby thermometers, all gone within days. Amanda, a first-time mother in Texas, had a 3-month-old when lockdown started. She had a normal supply of diapers, maybe a week's worth, because she usually just grabbed a pack while grocery shopping. When she realized stores were running out, she panicked. She drove to 6 different stores in one afternoon, looking for diapers in her baby's size. She finally found 2 packs at a gas station and bought both, even though they were overpriced. If you have young children, you can't rely on just-in-time supply chains during a crisis. The move? Keep a minimum 90-day supply of essential infant and child items. Formula, if you're formula feeding. Diapers in current and next sizes up. Wipes, children's medications, diaper rash cream, any specialized items your child needs. This isn't hoarding. This is basic risk management for parents. Item number 4, batteries. Everyone thinks about batteries for flashlights during hurricane season. Almost nobody thinks about batteries for everything else that modern life depends on. During extended power outages, whether from natural disasters, grid failures, or other disruptions, batteries become the most valuable commodity you can own, not just for flashlights, for smoke detectors, carbon monoxide detectors, medical devices, radios, remote controls for generators, headlamps, lanterns, kids' toys that keep children calm during stressful situations. After Hurricane Maria in 2017, Puerto Rico experienced the longest blackout in U.S. history. The power grid was down for months in many areas. Carlos, a resident of San Juan, had a small battery stockpile, maybe 20 AA batteries and a dozen AAAs. He thought that was plenty. It wasn't. His smoke detectors needed batteries. His LED lanterns needed batteries. His portable radio, his only source of news, needed batteries. His father's glucose monitor needed batteries. Within 2 weeks, Carlos was completely out. And batteries were nowhere to be found. Stores that had any were limiting purchases to 2 packs per customer, and people were lining up at 5 a.m. to get them. Carlos eventually traded a nearly full tank of propane, worth about $50, for a pack of 12 AA batteries. That's how valuable they became. The move, stockpile batteries now in the sizes you actually use. Go through your house and identify every device that takes batteries. Smoke detectors, remotes, flashlights, medical devices, kids' toys, tools, camping gear. Then buy batteries accordingly. Not 20, not 50. Hundreds. Focus on AA, AAA, and D batteries, the most common sizes. Store them in a cool, dry place. Alkaline batteries have a 10-year shelf life if stored properly. Consider rechargeable batteries and a solar charger as well, but don't rely solely on rechargeables. You need both. Item number 5. Water filters and purification supplies. Bottled water is obvious. Everyone knows to stock bottled water for emergencies. What people miss? Bottled water runs out fast, it's heavy, it's expensive to stockpile in large quantities, and it's one of the first things to disappear from stores during a crisis. The smarter play is water filtration and purification. During the Flint water crisis, people couldn't drink tap water for years. During natural disasters, water treatment plants fail. During infrastructure collapses, water systems become contaminated. Life straw filters, Sawyer mini filters, Berkey systems, water purification tablets, these all vanish from stores the moment people realized tap water isn't safe. In 2020, early in the pandemic, there was a brief panic about water treatment plants shutting down. It didn't happen, but the panic was enough to clear out water. Filtration products from stores and online retailers for weeks. Mark, a resident of Houston, waited until after Hurricane Harvey to buy a water filtration system. Every camping store within 50 miles was sold out. Amazon was back-ordered for weeks. He ended up paying triple the normal price from a third-party seller. The move? Own multiple methods of water purification before you need them. A gravity-fed filter, like a Berkey for home use. Portable filters like Life Straw or Sawyer for mobility. Water purification tablets as a backup. Also stock unscented household bleach. It can purify water in emergencies. 8 drops per gallon. Let sit for 30 minutes. Water is non-negotiable for survival. Don't depend on bottled water alone. Item number 6, propane and alternative fuel. When the power grid fails, how do you cook? How do you heat your home? Most people's answer, I'll figure it out when it happens. That doesn't work. After winter storms in Texas in 2021, the power grid failed across the state. Millions of people were without electricity for days in freezing temperatures. Propane tanks, the kind you use for gas grills, sold out within hours. Every hardware store, every big box store, every gas station with propane exchange was empty. People who had generators couldn't run them because they couldn't get fuel. People who had propane heaters couldn't use them because they couldn't get propane. David, a homeowner in Austin, had a propane grill and one tank. When the power went out, he used his grill to cook food before it spoiled in his powerless refrigerator. His tank ran out after 2 days. He drove to 7 different locations trying to find propane, all empty. He ended up cooking the rest of his meals over candles and eating a lot of cold canned food. Meanwhile, his neighbor, a quiet guy David barely knew, had 4 full propane tanks stored in his garage. He cooked hot meals for his family every day, and even shared with David's family once. That neighbor had bought those tanks during summer when they were abundant and cheap, not during the crisis when they were impossible to find. The move? Buy propane tanks now. Multiple tanks. Keep them full. If you have a propane grill, you should have at least 3 full tanks at all times. If you have propane heaters or other propane devices, more. Also consider alternative fuel sources, camp stoves with fuel canisters, charcoal which stores indefinitely, and if you have a fireplace, seasoned firewood. Fuel is one of those things that you cannot improvise during a crisis. You either have it or you don't. Item number 7, common tools and repair supplies. Something happened in 2020 that caught everyone off guard. Hardware stores ran out of basic tools and repair supplies within the first month of lockdowns. When people couldn't call repair services, when contractors weren't available, when supply chains for new goods broke down, people had to fix things themselves. Plumbing supplies, electrical supplies, duct tape, zip ties, screws, nails, caulk, wood glue, sandpaper, basic hand tools. Inventory sold out and stayed out for months because manufacturing slowed and demand spiked. Rachel, a homeowner in Colorado, had a leaking faucet in April 2020. Normally she'd call a plumber, but plumbers weren't making house calls for non-emergencies. She decided to fix it herself, went to Home Depot for parts. The specific washer she needed was out of stock. The entire plumbing aisle was picked over. She ended up ordering parts online and waiting 2 weeks for delivery while her faucet dripped constantly, wasting water and money. During extended crises, things break. Pipes leak, electrical issues happen, doors stick, windows crack, appliances fail. If you can't fix these problems yourself, or at least patch them temporarily, you're at the mercy of overwhelmed repair services or unavailable parts. The move: build a comprehensive tool and repair supply kit now. Basic hand tools, hammer, screwdrivers, pliers, adjustable wrench, tape measure. Plumbing supplies, washers, pipe tape, sealant, basic fittings. Electrical supplies, wire nuts, electrical tape, basic switches and outlets. Fasteners, screws, nails, bolts in various sizes. Adhesives, duct tape, Gorilla Tape, super glue, epoxy, wood glue. Repair patches and sealants. You don't need to be a master craftsman. You need to be able to make basic repairs that prevent small problems from becoming catastrophic ones. Item number 8, seeds and gardening supplies. In April 2020, seed companies were overwhelmed with orders. Many stopped taking new orders entirely. Websites crashed. Phone lines were jammed. People who had never gardened in their lives suddenly wanted to grow their own food. Vegetable seeds, especially easy to grow varieties like tomatoes, beans, squash, and lettuce, sold out nationwide. Seed potatoes were impossible to find. Onion sets vanished. Gardening supplies followed. Potting soil, fertilizer, garden. Tools, hoses, raised bed kits. Most people missed something critical. Buying seeds during a crisis doesn't help you. Seeds take months to produce food. If you're buying seeds because you're worried about food shortages next month, you're already too late. Lisa, a suburban mom in Virginia, ordered $150 worth of seeds in late March 2020. She finally received them in June, 3 months later. By then, it was too late in the season to plant most of them effectively. She tried anyway. Most of her plants failed because she had no experience gardening. The few that succeeded produced small amounts of food that didn't justify the time and effort. If you want gardening to be a viable food security strategy, you need to start years before the crisis, not during it. The move: buy heirloom seeds now, store them properly, and learn to garden during peaceful times. Heirloom seeds can be saved and replanted year after year, unlike hybrid seeds. They're your food insurance policy, but more importantly, start a garden now. Learn what grows in your climate. Learn what you'll actually eat. Learn how to preserve the harvest. A garden only becomes a security asset after you failed, learned, and succeeded multiple times. You can't start that learning curve during a crisis. Item number 9, portable power solutions. When the grid goes down, your phone becomes your lifeline. It's your communication device, your news source, your flashlight, your way to call for help. And it needs power. In 2020, portable battery packs and solar chargers sold out fast as people realized they might need to keep devices charged without grid power. The real shortage happened during natural disasters. After hurricanes, wildfires, and winter storms, portable power stations, the larger units that can run refrigerators, medical devices, and power tools, became impossible to find. Goal Zero, Jackery, EcoFlow. Every major brand was back-ordered for months. Prices on available units doubled or tripled. Michael, a Florida resident, learned this lesson during Hurricane Ian in 2022. His power was out for 6 days. He had a small portable phone charger, but it only held enough charge for 2 phone cycles. His neighbor had a Jackery 500 power station. It kept their refrigerator running, charged all their devices, and even powered a fan during the hot days. They'd bought it 2 years earlier on sale for $400. After the storm, Michael tried to buy one. The same unit was selling for $850, and it was back-ordered for 2 months. The move? Invest in portable power now, before you need it. At minimum, own several high-capacity phone battery banks, enough to keep your phone charged for a week without grid power. Better? Own a portable power station, 300 watt-hours to 1,000 watt-hour capacity, with a solar panel. These can keep essential devices running during extended outages. The best time to buy these is during sales in normal times. The worst time is during a crisis, when everyone else realizes they need one. All right, item number 10, animal food and cat litter. Pet food shortages don't announce themselves until the shelves are already empty. During COVID, specialty pet foods vanished almost overnight. Not the generic stuff, the prescription diets, the grain-free formulas, the specific proteins for animals with allergies or sensitivities. Manufacturing facilities that produced pet food ran on the same constrained schedules as human food production. When supply chains tightened, pet food wasn't the priority. When transportation slowed, 40-pound bags of dog food weren't worth the freight costs compared to human essentials. Cat litter, especially the clumping clay varieties, followed the same pattern. The raw materials come from specific mines. The production facilities run limited shifts. When demand spikes even slightly, supply dries up fast. Pet owners found themselves driving to 5, 6, 7 stores looking for their dog's prescription kidney diet or their cat's sensitive stomach formula. Generic substitutes weren't options. You can't just switch a dog with pancreatitis to whatever's on the shelf. You can't change a cat with urinary issues to a different food without risking serious health problems. Beyond the health issues, there's a practical reality. Animals don't adjust to sudden food changes. A dog that's eaten the same food for 3 years won't readily accept a substitute. A cat won't use a different type of litter. During a crisis, the last thing you need is a pet refusing to eat or a cat urinating outside the litter box because you had to switch products. The shortages lasted months. Some specialty formulas took over a year to return to normal stock levels. Backorder lists stretched into the thousands. Online retailers implemented purchase limits, 1 bag per customer, which meant people with multiple large dogs couldn't even buy a month's supply at once. The move: stockpile your animals' specific food and litter before supply chains tighten. For food, aim for a 90-day minimum supply. Check expiration dates and rotate stock, but most dry pet food remains good for 12 to 18 months if stored in airtight containers in cool, dry conditions. For cat litter, store at least 3 months' worth. It doesn't expire, it's shelf-stable indefinitely, and during shortages, it becomes a barter commodity among cat owners. If your animal is on a prescription or specialty diet, this isn't optional. You can't substitute. You can't improvise. Stock up now while it's available. Item number 11, veterinary and pet medications. Veterinary clinics closed or went to emergency-only appointments during COVID, and pet medication supplies dried up fast. Most people keep maybe a week or 2 of their pet's medications on hand, if that. When vet clinics shut down or became inaccessible, people couldn't get refills. Dogs with seizure disorders, cats with thyroid conditions, pets with chronic pain management needs, all suddenly at risk because owners couldn't access medications. During the early pandemic, Rebecca's 12-year-old Labrador was on daily medication for arthritis and a heart condition. She had about 10 days of pills left when her vet clinic announced they were closing for non-emergency visits. She called to request refills. They said they'd mail them. 3 weeks later, nothing had arrived. She called back. They were overwhelmed with requests and backlogged. Her dog went 5 days without medication before she finally got the prescription transferred to an online pharmacy that could ship immediately, but at 3 times the normal cost. Most pet owners don't realize some veterinary medications are the exact same formulations as human medications, just in different dosages. Amoxicillin is amoxicillin. Certain pain medications are identical. This creates a double whammy during shortages. Veterinary and human pharmacies are drawing from the same supply chain. When one faces shortages, both do. The move: Build a medication buffer for your pets, just like you would for yourself. Ask your vet for 90-day supplies instead of 30-day. Most will write the prescription. Many pet insurance plans will cover it. For critical medications, seizure meds, heart meds, insulin, try to maintain a 60-day buffer minimum. Also, stock basics, antibiotics. If your vet will prescribe them prophylactically, pain medication, antidiarrheal, anything your specific animal might need. Item number 12, cash in small denominations. This is the item that creates black markets within 72 hours of any major disruption. When payment systems go down, whether from internet outages, power failures, or banking system disruptions, cash becomes the only way to conduct transactions. But not just any cash, small denominations. If you try to buy $8 worth of supplies with a $100 bill during a crisis, most people won't have change. And they won't give you $92 worth of goods just to make the transaction work. You need 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s. After Hurricane Katrina, ATMs were down across the Gulf Coast for weeks. Credit card systems didn't work, banks were closed, cash was the only option. But everyone who had cash had large bills, 20s, 50s, 100s, because that's what ATMs dispense. Stores that reopened couldn't make change. Gas stations couldn't make change. The informal economy that sprung up couldn't make change. People with small bills had incredible negotiating power. A stack of 1s and 5s was worth more in practical terms than a few $100 bills. James, a Louisiana resident, had $600 in cash when Katrina hit. All in 20s from an ATM withdrawal the day before. He couldn't use it effectively. When he found someone selling bottled water for $2 a bottle, he couldn't buy just 2 bottles with a 20. The seller didn't have change, so James had to buy 10 bottles even though he only needed 2. Every transaction was the same. He was forced to overpay or couldn't transact at all. Meanwhile, his neighbor had $300 in cash, but it was in 1s, 5s, and 10s. She could make exact change for everything. She could negotiate better deals. She could participate in the informal economy that emerged. The move: keep cash at home in small denominations. $500 to $1,000 is a good baseline, broken down as $100 in 1s, $150 in 5s, $250 in 10s, $200 in 20s. Keep it hidden and secure. Don't tell people you have it. This cash isn't for normal times. It's for when payment systems fail and cash is the only option. Item number 13, extension cords and power bars. When the power comes back on after an outage, or when you're running generators and portable power stations, extension cords and power bars become worth their weight in gold. Most households have maybe 2 or 3 extension cords tucked away somewhere, one power bar behind the TV, another behind the computer desk, that's it. During the Texas winter storms in 2021, when power was restored intermittently, people couldn't utilize what little power they had because they lacked the infrastructure to distribute it effectively. You might have one working outlet in your house. Without extension cords and power bars, you can plug in exactly one device, one phone charger, one lamp, one space heater, that's all. With the right setup, a heavy-duty extension cord running from that single outlet connected to a power bar, you can suddenly charge phones, run a lamp, power a radio, and keep a small heater running simultaneously. The same applies to generators and portable power stations. These have limited outlets. Without power bars, you're limited to the number of devices the unit can physically accommodate. With power bars, you can expand that capacity significantly. Hardware stores sold out of extension cords and power bars within days of the Texas crisis. Not because demand was enormous, but because supply was limited and inventory was already lean. These aren't high-margin items that stores stock deeply. Online retailers back-ordered for weeks. Price gouging kicked in immediately. A $15 power bar was selling for $60. A $20 extension cord was $75. People were running generators outside, but couldn't run cords inside safely. They were charging devices, one at a time, because they lacked the infrastructure to charge multiple simultaneously. They were moving single appliances around the house, trying to use the one working outlet. The move: buy extension cords and power bars now in various lengths and capacities. Heavy-duty outdoor-rated extension cords in 25-foot, 50-foot, and 100-foot lengths. Indoor extension cords for shorter runs. Power bars with surge protection. Multiple units in both 6-outlet and 8-outlet configurations. Store them together in an accessible location. Label them by length. When the power goes out, or when it comes back on intermittently, you'll know exactly what you have and where it is. This is cheap insurance. $200 investment in cords and power bars can make the difference between functional, survival, and miserable suffering during a power crisis. Every item on this list is available right now at normal prices. Extension cords cost $15. Veterinary medication refills are a phone call away. Small bills are sitting in your bank right now. The people who came through 2020 best weren't the ones with the most money. They were the ones who'd quietly spent $1,000 over the previous year building a buffer of the things that actually matter when systems break. 100 pounds of cat litter stored in a garage, 3 extra boxes of contact lenses, a stack of 20s, 10s, and 5s in a drawer. These aren't the sexy preps. Nobody's making YouTube videos about their extension cord collection. But they're the difference between adapting and panicking when the next disruption hits. You'll notice I didn't cover food items in this list. That's intentional. I'm assuming most of you already know what vanishes first: rice, beans, canned goods, flour. And I'm betting a good portion of you are already growing, canning, dehydrating, and preserving your own food anyway. But if you want me to break down the specific foods that disappear first, and in what order, including the ones that surprise people, drop a comment and let me know. If there's enough interest, I'll make a dedicated video just on food shortages. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.